So today we're taking a look at Light and Dark. This is a new release coming out on March 3rd. I hope you guys enjoy that song, but until then, here is the production that I actually did for the song. This is just an inside look. I hope you guys enjoy. So the first thing I want to look at is the vocals, and the vocals for this song were recorded in two different places, here and over at Jack's. I did the verses and I did the background vocals in the chorus. Jack took the lead in the chorus, and also we traded off on the bridge. Kind of a good mix of, you know, what he wrote, what I had in mind. He wrote all the lyrics for it, but you know, he gave me the verses, and we kind of just bounced off of each other on what the melodies should be. So let's take a listen real quick. The verse originally was actually going to mirror the rhythm of the chorus, and I thought that it needed a little bit of change, so I kind of just belted the verse the best that I could, and it kind of gave it this, like, I don't know, classic-y rock style, especially on that second line in the verse. I literally, I was just running out of breath. But it kind of gave it this like vibrato that I really enjoyed. So I decided to leave it in. So the plugins I'm using for the vocals, I mainly stick with the Howard Benson plugin. It's got a really good mix of everything that you want. I did wind up using that on Jack's vocals as well in the chorus, but we'll get to that. Let's go ahead and take a listen to the chorus and kind of see what that sounds like. The chorus, for his vocal specifically, what we were doing is, I think we were using the same preset. No, we were actually using the country male vocals, and I did give it a little bit more grit, I think, and a lot more de-esser. The mic that he was using actually brought out the S's quite a bit, so, you know, bringing up that de-esser, and then also I think I adjusted the output just a little bit. Soloed out, that's what his sounds like here.
Fantasies in the dark, fantasies in the dark, disappear in the light, disappear in the light, black in my heart, the black in my heart, like the black in the sky, like the black in the sky.
So there is a long delay on a lot of this. It winds up getting buried in the mix. You can definitely automate that out. I chose not to, but you know, for his vocals specifically, I think that country style vocal really fit him. And for the background vocals, I was actually using the same lead vocal, but I did turn on a little bit more grit, a lot of de-essing, and I think I did wind up doing high pass, low pass filter. Yes. So for the screams, what I was actually using is the Spirit Box lead vocal again, but we turned down the output a little bit, and we did wind up turning on that lo-fi, so that's what this sounds like soloed out here.
Fantasies in the dark, disappear in the light.
So with the delay and everything, it all overlaps, and it kind of just gets buried in the mix anyway. There is a lot of noise happening. Like I said, you can automate that out if you would really like to. I just chose not to. Now, when it comes to the background vocals, kind of the oohs and ahs, if you will, that's what these sound like here. Now, for this one, I also stuck with the Spirit Box. I just really like these presets. Turn down the grit in the DS. Keep down the output. Make it very reverby. I think I did bring up the amount and the size of the room quite a bit, so that way it kind of just filled out the space. The next thing that we're going to talk about is the guitars, the leads, and kind of what solo work Jack wound up doing on this song. We'll go ahead and start with the intro here. With his lead part, we did stick with that tone that he used on his most recent album, Requiem. Go check it out. It just kind of gives him that, iconic Jack sound. It just gives it that really nice, solid, like high end, as well as there is a little bit of high pass and, just to bring down on the reverb a little bit so that it doesn't eat in the mix too much. All of the compressors that I'm using for this, by the way, all stock with Reaper. I really enjoy that compressor. It just does a lot of the heavy lifting for me, makes mixing really easy. What I do is I put the auto makeup in the limit output, can control it a little bit better. I do have other compressors that I have used in the past, just the stock plugin, good enough for me. So going into the chorus lead that we did, it was more of like this droning, just, keeping on the same note. That way it just filled out the space a little bit. And if I'm not mistaken, that's also the amazing lead. Yep, exactly. So that's Soldano. I think I used the exact same high pass filter. No, I actually didn't put any high pass on this one. It did just fill out the mid just a little bit in the leads and the guitars here. So yeah, there is a lot going on when it comes to the guitars, but whatever you want to make punch in your mix, that's what I tend to follow. So I really wanted that lead to stand out. What we're going to do now is just look at how I recorded the rhythm guitars. I took this acoustic riff that Jack sent over, and I really enjoyed the chord progression. Chord progression is actually inspired by, kind of that older metal, but the string skippiness I kind of pulled from the newer metalcore stuff. I like to record almost every note individually, and that just makes it really clean playing all the way through. It does take a lot of editing, but I'm a better editor than I am a guitar player. It kind of just makes sense for me to put it all together in post. This is what that sounds like. And that is just the very repetitive riff that, upholds the chorus. This is kind of what my process looks like. What I'll do is I'll record one chord and then I'll kind of go through the notes individually. So this is chord number 1. And I just continue to do that over and over and over again. Take 2 sections that I really like, left and right stereo. For the string skippiness, I just recorded single notes, just like that, all together. This is what that sounds like. Speaking of this guitar part, we also do have this acoustic part that Jack recorded. We really wanted to include his acoustic because of his Americana stuff. Really good in this bridge for the build-up. We'll go ahead and listen to it with the vocals here all together. And with that acoustic, the recording that he did actually did a lot of the heavy lifting. We did put Soldano on here with the Dream tone. Turned off the Soldano amp. We turned off the cab pretty much to just use the reverb that's built in here. Kind of makes it really airy and nice. All we did was the close mic EQ and brought down the high end just a little bit. It was a little clicky. The tone that he printed into it is very thin, and I really do enjoy those thin high-end tones. It stays away from the mids that I want the guitars to pick up. I just think that the guitar tone by itself is really, really good. We'll go ahead and just... And then if you add the lead onto that for the chorus, you'll notice that it's the exact same thing. And that's how we did the acoustic and the bridge part. Just to talk about this lead for a second, because I think he killed it on this solo. So with that lead in that solo, I just enjoy how he played it. He did play kind of in 3 different sections. He sent over just a whole bunch of different takes, and I spliced them together the way that, I thought that it sounded the best. Of course, I sent it over to him. He approved it. So onto the bass. I do actually use MIDI bass for all of my mixes. I do have the option to use real bass. We do have access to T the Machine. He's a great bass player, plays on all of Jack's stuff. Definitely go check out his work. He's got a lot of stuff happening over there. But just for my mixes, what I tend to use is the MIDI bass, and the specific plugin that I'm using, the Umansky bass. And then I have that running through the Dark Glass Ultra. I have it on the Alex Webster. I don't really do a whole lot to the tone here. I think it's a solid tone. Main thing that I do is I just EQ it on the back end, cut out a little bit of the low. We'll listen to the bass soloed out here. So with that, it still has all the rumble that I feel like I need in my mixes. Some of the string noise in the high end, take down just a little bit, about in the 2K range. For the drums, it's the same thing. I actually use Perfect drums. I have used Superior Drummer. Honestly, it's just up to preference. I think that the sampled drums and Perfect drums are really, really good. I've been using them for a very long time in most of my mixes. And also all of this is bust out to be room, overheads, hi-hat, all the toms, the snare and the kick. Run all of that into a bus with Refire on it. This is a free plugin. And I bring up the size and the burn just a little bit, and that makes those drums just really punchy all the way through. And now with that, I also, kind of go through, and it's kind of just up to preference on how you want the room to sound, what levels you want everything at. I personally really like the hi-hat to be pretty low in the mix and the overheads to be pretty low. So that way the kick and the snare can punch out pretty hard. So with all that being said, we'll give it one final playthrough. This is the new song coming out on March 3rd. I hope you guys like it. Be sure to stream it. It is going to be available anywhere where you get your music. So take a listen. March 3rd, Light and Dark, featuring Jack Fiddler. Here you go.